Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Matilda Swift here with my co-host Samantha Cummings, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over a dozen books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our mastery through missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way. This week's topic is time management for rolling production schedules. It's quite a mouthful. Before that, what are your wins and whinges of the week?
Oh, okay, I'll start with wins. I'm going to count this as a win. I've had a really busy weekend, but in a good way. I talked about this in my newsletter that I sent out this weekend, about how I'm kind of living my best author life in that I'm doing things like social things that make me feel like I'm like living a good life rather than just like being tied to a computer. So I went out to the theatre on Friday night with my sister to see Dear Evan Hansen, which I love the music of, but the story I hate, but the music's really good, so it was really fun. And then I went out to the ice hockey last night with my boyfriend.
That seems very off-brand.
So fun. I know, I'm not a sporty girl at all. I don't like watching sports, but I love ice hockey because growing up with Mighty Ducks means that you can't not. Like, I'm just like, obsessed with Mighty Ducks. So I just pretended that I was watching them. And it was so good.
Like teenage ice hockey, but I think grown up ice hockey is going to be too scary. I really just want Joshua Jackson to play ice hockey as a teenager.
Yeah, I just imagine that they're all him. And also, like, every time like people bash, I'm just like, it's the Bash Brothers. And yeah, no one should ever take me to an ice hockey game. I really get into it, and I like doing all the chants, and I scream, and yeah, it's the best. It's kind of like a pantomime for me, where I get to play a real human being.
What a internationally relatable reference you've made there.
I can't even describe a pantomime, but yeah, I basically just like jokingly pretending to be a human being, putting on the performance of a lifetime. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it, and as soon as I got there, because I haven't been to watch ice hockey, this is such a rambly story. I've been to watch ice hockey since I was a kid, and have been wanting to go for ages, so decided to go. And I knew as soon as I walked in, it was my new obsession, and now I plan to go all the time. And wear
how about that nice crisp air when you go ice skating?
Yes, it's because you can.
I would like that then.
You can go and ice skate there as well. And at the end of the match, you could go onto the ice and skate with the team. Which, yeah,
anyone could.
Yeah, if you had your own ice skates, I think you could just go out with them.
And maybe the chance that they could see you and you're good enough, and they'd be like, "Come join our team. You're amazing."
I mean, that's what next time I go. That's what I'm expecting, because there is a women's division, and I'm like, put me in pants,
I can see
coach.
you as a skater. Yeah,
I could play.
I think you'd be good at that.
Yeah, so that's my new obsession. In terms of other things in life, it's like a whole 5 minutes recap on my ice hockey obsession. My writing is going great. I'm currently at the end of the book that's being published later on this year. And yeah, I'm just writing the ending, and it's going so well. All of my beats are like beating. It feels like it's exactly what I want it to be. And I love the creativity of writing, and I love doing my little writing sprints, and I haven't done it for a while. So it's like a nice place to be rather than just going over and over old words. Yeah, and I also today contacted a bookshop to see if I could get my paperbacks stocked, if you can believe.
Oh my goodness, that's so exciting.
There is a somebody who's trying to open up a bookshop in Liverpool. You probably sent me.
Yes, the Wirral. You can't call it Liverpool.
Yes, I know, the Wirral. Sorry.
They're not letting you in now.
Well, she in the account she does herself say Liverpool. Like, she's based in Liverpool.
They're very particular in that area.
Yeah, it's a I think it's called Happily Ever After. It's a fantasy, romancy fantasy bookshop. And yeah, somebody who has read my book, so one of my readers and stuff, she had gone to visit, and I said I was really excited that she was going because it looked so cool. And she was like, "Oh yeah, you should see if they'll stock your books in there." And I thought, yeah, like, why haven't I already thought about that? So I contacted them, and I'm waiting to hear back. And that feels
That's
like,
very exciting.
I know, it feels like a really big, weird step to take. And obviously, like all of my decisions, just off the cuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that that's like something that I'm going to be doing in the future, so I'll just do it right now. My only whinge is that I'm so tired, I feel like my face could fall off.
Yeah,
And my
same.
brain could fall out. And yeah, like, I don't know how I am.
I think I might be
sat
dead.
here.
That's how, when I'm that sort of
Yes.
tired of, like, I think I might be dead and I've not noticed it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a tough state to be in.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I'm a zombie walking through the world. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's my whinge. I'm going to start with a whinge because I feel like I'm normally very whinge focused, and I am so deep in the whinge right now. And it's not even a real whinge. It's just that this is the phase of writing I'm in where, and we're going to talk about it today because I've got a book due into the editor on Wednesday, and I'm sure I said this in my last book, and I'm sure I said it wasn't going to be the case for this one, but it is, in that it needs a lot more work than I thought it was going to need, which I think is something that maybe I always say. I can't tell. It's one of those, like, when you have a baby and your brain forgets how hard having a baby is, and then you have another baby and you're
Kind
like,
of.
why did I forget this?
I'm sure that's the thing,
I,
yeah. Neither
but
of us
people
know
say
that,
that.
but yes, yeah.
This is what people say. I've heard it on
Yes.
TikTok.
Yeah.
I think it's the same with editing books, that you forget how hard it is to edit a book, and then you think next time, oh, yeah, that I did that. That was achievable.
100%. Yeah.
So yes, so I'm at the stage where this book it needs so much more work than I, in my head, imagined it would need. Because I remembered writing it, and I remember being really impressed with myself. Part of the problem with this book is it kind of wraps up a 3-book arc. Like, again, here's another reason that I hadn't anticipated. I need to think about these things more. It wraps up a 3-book arc, so it brings together a lot of threads, and it's just too complicated. And needs, like, the whole book in your head all at once. And by the time I got to the end of it, I kind of figured out some things that I hadn't seen it in the right way, or I hadn't kind of prioritized the stakes enough in the right way. At the beginning, it starts with kind of like 3 different sort of vague stakes, and then once I finish, like, oh, I can maybe bring one and bring out more. And so I'm having to go back and, like, very much rewrite it, which is fine, but I just hadn't planned for it. And also, I'm a procrastinator. So even if I had planned for it, I wouldn't have used the time I left, and I would have just been in the exact same position and still been tired this week. So I think I want to try and fix that today in our discussion, that my terrible ability to plan my own life. But I also want to whinge about it and just say I'm so tired. I was thinking about this week that I have worked 3 full days, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every waking hour of the day is like either editing or consciously, like, taking a break from editing, like having an hour, just on the sofa watching something, just shutting my eyes, whatever. But apart from that, just long days of editing. And then every evening this week, I haven't gone water skiing, I haven't done my hobbies, just been editing. And so I have worked more than my full-time job by quite a long way. And I'm just thinking, why don't I just have a second full-time job? I'd be so rich if I had 2 full-time jobs, and I'd be less tired because I wouldn't be doing as much. And that's not, I don't want to do that, obviously, but I does feel at the moment like I'm putting so much work in, and I'm not yet at the stage of getting the benefits out. And it feels like, when you start eating really healthily and, like, exercising well, and you get to the end of the first day and you're like, oh, all I've eaten today is salads, and I've been on, like, a long walk, and I've really moisturized, and, like, and I just got the same as I did at the start of the day. That feels insulting. Why don't I just magically transform? And it's just because it's just one day. So I'm trying to keep that perspective of, like, it is just, this is a tough stage at the beginning of, I was going to say a marathon. I've not run a marathon. They look too hard for me. But again, here's the day of unrelatable metaphors. Metaphors we don't have experience with.
Yeah,
I've used all my good metaphors in my writing. But yes, so that very long rambly, again, more rambles today. Rambly point. Do I have a point? Maybe. I'm very tired. I think that's really, I've shown, not told, how tired I am. Do I have a win? I absolutely do have a win, in that I met up with someone from our Discord, which is so exciting. And I think that feels really good that I say I made time for nothing this week. I did a writing session in the library because I'd like to try and get out and do something different. And I met up with a writing friend there. So I had a little bit of whispered conversation, but it was nice to see a human being. I went out to my writing group where we just sit and write in silence as well. So I did a little bit of silent socializing. And then I also actually spoke to someone. So we had a very long, like, very, like, like a healing conversation where it's just like, oh, it's everything that I'm thinking about and everything that I'm worrying about, and all the things that are top of my mind that I can't talk to anyone else about, that everyone else will just look at you like, I don't know what Facebook ads are. I got to have a conversation about that. And so that was fantastic. And it was with another cozy author. And we had just chatted a little bit in the Discord. And I realised that she lived near me. So I thought, why not meet up? And we met up in the most beautiful village, I think, in all of England, which is where the Brontes grew up, which is called Haworth, which the bus there goes past my house. And it's about 20 minutes from my house. So I should go there all the time. But it's almost like too beautiful. Like, it's a nice place not to go every weekend. But we met up in a very nice cafe there. I wrote a bit before we met. I wrote after we met. Met my writing goal, but also had a couple of hours just to eat very nice cake and chat. So that was an absolute delight. And if anybody else would like to meet more writing friends, come into our Discord. The information is in our show notes. It is so nice to be in there and just have everyone's questions answered and feel like you can moan about stuff you need to. You can reach out to people. Delightful.
Yeah, agreed. It is a very nice place to be. I guess after we've complained, let's just get into talking about something that we're going to complain about even more. This week's topic is all about rolling production. So what is a rolling production schedule, and what specific time management tools do we need for it? Oh my God, my mouth.
Oh, I forgot. Today we're going to have our conflict of pronunciation of schedule and schedule. So,
Oh yes.
just for
What did
everybody
I
who wants
just
the
say?
international, you said schedule. That's what you say.
Schedule.
Just to give the fully
Yes.
international interpretation. So I'm going to say schedule.
I could never.
So yes, rolling production schedules. I have previously tried to set one up and kind of like ground to a halt because I've got too far behind. And what I want to have is that say it's a 3-book series that I'm starting, or I'm starting with the first 3 books, which is where I am now. I've written the first draft of book 1. I set that aside for a bit while I write the first draft of book 2. And then I set that aside while I then do some edits of book 1. And then I set that aside or send it to the editor while I can do the first draft of book 3 and interweave them so I'm at different stages of every book. So that hopefully I've got 1, 2, and 3 going. At the moment, I obviously, because I've been prepping for release and I do not have time to actually write and edit a book a month, I'm obviously getting further behind that schedule. So I'm currently working on the edits of book 3 to go to the editor on Wednesday. And then after that, I've got my edits of book 2 back. So I'm going to do my proofread and last go through over the weekend next week. And then I'm going to start book 4. But obviously I should really be further ahead with book 4 to have it kind of keep rolling. But I just haven't had the time. I wouldn't be able to get books 1, 2, and 3 out monthly. So I want to figure out like a long-term useful production schedule to keep things rolling. One tricky thing I have found definitely with having a rolling production schedule for 3 books in a series is that I have to keep all 3 in my head at once and I'm mixing them up.
Yeah.
And just trying to like remember, like, have I mentioned that character already? And obviously, I've got the copies on my computer so I can go and check and see. And also because I've cut things out. So sometimes I have mentioned a character in book 1 and then I've deleted them and they don't come into book 2. I find it really useful having this all go on at the same time in some ways, because when I get to book 3, and I want to have mentioned something in book 2, I think I've still got time to be able to kind of add that. And then, book 1 only came out last week. So until then, I could add things into book 1 that I've mentioned in book 3. So it's making things feel very interconnected. All the characters are top of mind. So for me, I think it makes my writing better, but it makes my quality of life worse.
Yeah.
Because
I
I'm
don't
so
even know
tired.
I don't know how you're doing it, because that to me is just insanity. Like I get it. In some ways I think I do think my brain works in the same way, where I can hold on to a lot of information at once, but I have to have little breaks in between, and that would just slow me down. And you're like powering through, which is probably going to end up destroying you. But
Yeah, feels my way right now.
I definitely I benefit from having days off, and that would probably
Yeah,
break up the flow of, and also it just sounds like a lot. Are you
yeah. I
okay?
think I think I wouldn't want to keep doing it, aside from having a release of a new series.
Yeah.
I think part of what's making it so busy is just having a day job. So I there's a limit to what I can do after work. Right, I finish work and
Yeah.
I'm already tired. I can edit a couple of chapters, and I've probably scheduled, if it's a lot of work, 3 chapters. If it's less work, it's 4 chapters. And these are short chapters; they're 1,000 words each. And then get a bigger chunk done at the weekend. But there's a limit to physically how much time I can spend on things. And if I'm getting really tired, during the week, I'll have to take a day off, or if I get ill, I have to take some time off. So there is physically limited time in which I need to achieve quite a lot in the time I have.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't want to continue this pace. It doesn't feel good, and it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it's going to keep benefiting the work. Like I think my this is partly why I think the drafts are needing a lot more work than I thought they would, is that I think I have written them in a more tired state, in a more like frazzled state.
Mm-hmm.
And so I haven't had the brain space to like tie up as many things as I've gone through the book. Like normally maybe I'd go back and edit something a bit in and like make something make sense, but I've had to just drop it and know I'll come back to it. Which for me, I think partly is when it works because my books are small. So this is a series of books where really 3 books of mine probably add up to 1 book of yours. So I've got the paperback here. If
I
anyone's watching on
love
screen,
it.
you can see. It's very cute and tiny. And it's this book, I think book 1 is like 40 or 41,000 words. And book 2, I think, is 42, and book 3 is probably about 40. So they are short. They're very dense. I think I'm really trying to see that as positive. Like I really like books where you kind of feel like you're immersed in a world, even if you only read a few pages. I like that. So the books are short, but I think they feel particularly short. And so I just get to kind of have this intense burst of thinking about them, and I get to tie a lot of things together. But yes, it does feel really tiring. I think one of my problems is that if I gave myself more time, I would not use it well because I am a procrastinator.
Yes.
And I know
Me too.
the minimum amount of time that I need to do something, and then I'll be like, how about a little bit less?
Yeah. My problem that I've noticed recently, like when I had my epiphany last week or the week before, when I realized how time works, which is something that I'm going to reference a lot and never be able to explain, is that like I forever underestimate how much time things take. And this is just like in my life in general. I always think things are going to take a lot less time. And like when I go to places, I always think that I'm going to get somewhere in 2 minutes when it takes 10 minutes. I'm forever late to work, even though I live 3 minutes away from work. But I don't live 3 minutes away from work. I live 5 to 6 minutes away from work on a good run. But I always think like, I only listen to 1 song on the way to work. That's just because I've like skip a lot until I get to a song I like. So like my understanding of how time flows is just wrong. And I realized that when I started editing this book in January, and I thought, I'll be able to finish editing this book by mid-Feb. No. I also hadn't even finished writing the book.
Could you, like in a world in which there's like literal gun to your head, could you have done it?
If I didn't have a full-time job, yeah. If I could have been doing more hours during the day, but
what if someone like kidnapped Juno and was like, "We won't give your dog back until you finish this book"? Would you have managed to get done in 6 weeks?
R.I.P. Juno. R.I.P. I feel like I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. I actually
Because I
feel
think
like
my problem is the opposite. Like I think some people have that like it takes as long as it takes feeling, and I'm just like it takes as long as I have, which I think is not healthy, and it means that I can set myself 2 weeks, regardless of how much a book needs doing, and I'm like, well, I
Right.
will just work more. And
Yeah.
now I feel like I'm going to wake up and like my head won't turn. I'm in that sort of like aching phase.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I may have been able to do it because I did originally have a much shorter turnaround time for this book, and I've pushed the publishing date. And I probably could have done it. I maybe would have taken a day off work because I've done that in the past and just had like a day where I blitzed a lot of stuff. So I potentially could have done it, but I think that it would have made me not like this stage that I'm at now, which is knowing that I've got a little bit more time. It actually feels so much better to think like it was like a weight off my shoulders when everything went wrong and my editor couldn't fit me in. And my first reaction was, oh no, what the hell am I going to do? And then once I figured out how it was going to, like, how to fix it, I realized that was the best thing that could have happened because it feels so much nicer. And maybe I think that it's actually like easier, but it might not be. It could be that I'm still completely delusional. I'm thinking that I'm going to finish this with time to spare and be like, have a few days on either side where I just like have nothing to do. But right now it actually feels like this time is the right time in this part of the process.
Right,
Like
yeah,
maybe
I can't imagine that feeling. How do you Are you naturally a procrastinator? Like, do you ever procrastinate about
Yes.
things?
Oh no, I do. I do
So
things at
how
the
do you?
last minute.
But if you know you've got loads of time, why don't you just like leaving the book until closer?
Um, because I actually physically don't think. I think that the time that I've got really is the time that it's going to take.
Yeah. But
In a
what if you
perfect
just
world,
procrastinated?
I could procrastinate, but it would just be to my detriment. I'm I
Yeah, but
have
that's future
very
Sam.
I know, but
Who cares about her?
I've got this great ability to, when I decide to do something, like I can procrastinate with so many things and leave so many things to the last minute. But if I deem something important enough, I can make
Mhm.
that thing like the one thing that I do. And I'm really good at sticking. If I make a decision about something, I've always been like this, even as a kid. Like if I
Mm,
make a decision about something, I will stick with it forever.
mm,
And it's a detriment sometimes because it means that I will just like, like cut off my nose to spite my face. Like if I decide that like I'm gonna bleach my hair and color it, but I could just not do this anymore because it takes hours.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah, but it looks
but
really
because
cool.
yeah, it looks really cool. But because I decided when I hit 30 that I wanted to do that and be cool
Mhm.
forever, now I have to, because if I don't, everyone's gonna be like, just have your natural hair, and I cannot. No, no. No, it's just like really silly things like that. Like I've made the decision, I'm going to do it. And with this book
Mhm.
and with writing in general, I made the decision to be a writer, and now I have to prove to everyone that I can. Maybe that's it. Oh, I'm
I
just
think, to be fair, a lot of people are in this because they are the sort of prove you can do it person.
yeah.
Because I was thinking about today, I was like, I think I only actually am really, really drawn to writing because it's so hard. And like
Mm,
especially mystery writing. Like I think I wouldn't like it if it were easy because that's
yeah.
not interesting. I like the challenge. And I think the thing with writing is you can always make it harder. Like you can get your books to be more
Mm,
complicated. You could switch genres, you can do translations. And I think people who, and this is not necessarily true of everyone, but I think a lot of people, if I think about people that I know in the writing space, are people who actively enjoy challenge. It's not that
hmm.
you're doing it hoping one day it'll get less hard. You're doing it
Yeah.
because you like the hard.
Yes, I do
Um,
also like the hard thing. I like to be the person who is doing like the impressive thing. And
mhm,
I like to learn constantly, and I love being busy. Like
yeah,
I love being busy.
yeah. But
I
I think
also
I think I'm sometimes turning the energy the wrong way. So I'm turning the energy to like
yeah.
a, a dare to make myself
Hmm.
uncomfortably busy.
Yeah,
Um, and
that's
and I
what I
just
mean.
want to
Like
find,
it's a
yeah,
detriment when you decide that you're when you decide you're okay being busy,
yeah,
then it gets, I think it could maybe get a bit dangerous. Like I don't know at, at what point will I be too busy? Will it be when I've collapsed? I don't know.
yeah. I've never
Maybe.
hit that point. Yeah.
No, I felt like it this weekend.
I definitely remember actually my finals at university, like this is a long time ago, but I remember that was like weeks and weeks of just no sleep and not eating well. And I felt so wretched and
Mm,
like the worst I've ever felt in my life, like as a human being. And I was like sleeping like 20-minute bursts, and then waking up, my like panicked or just do some revision and like walking around, keep my head very still so like all the thoughts didn't fall out. Uh, and I was like, I
yeah.
don't want to live like that. Whereas I think I am in danger of getting back to that.
Hmm.
And I want to kind of figure out a better system.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of like what works well about my morning production schedule for this. I think it's good for the writing. And it's been good to make it feel like I can kind of plan my year out and my schedule's been very knowable. I think because I'm someone who can just make something happen the time I have. I can and I that's not always the case, right? So I've definitely added like buffer weeks into my schedule to allow for things like illness, which I previously hadn't and would like throw me right off. Sorry, my cat's attacking me. Um, but I've got those in now, and that's definitely mean that I don't slip behind. And I could, right, if I got really ill, I would slip behind. But I've kind of factored enough for expected situations.
Hmm.
Um, and that's been really good to like know that I can plan out to have books out 1 month apart has been really
Yeah.
beneficial. And to know my abilities well enough to kind of be certain of that has been good.
Hmm.
But I want to find a way to not not have to kind of be all or nothing.
Yeah.
And it might just be that it's a temporary phase, right? Because like I'm trying to do this and have a day job.
I
I think
think
one thing
that's
that I'm
it.
really struggling with at the moment is that I am not. ever able to get into professional writing schedule, like as if it is a
Mm-hmm.
job. When I'm writing, because it's either my evening or my weekend, I am already tired. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of battling that like will to be generous to myself and be like, oh, have a lie-in, or yeah, take a bit of time, watch a TV show, with
Mm-hmm.
like, no, must be productive, must be professional. And I'm doing neither.
Yeah.
I'm spend the whole time telling myself off. So I think that's definitely part of what I want to get in place about running a production schedule, is like, now I've got the role really, really, like, I've seen the benefit. Like I want to be able to have always something in the wings and have things at different stages. So I'm not just been like, okay, I finished this book, look around now, what's next? Because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like you, I haven't got loads of books stored up that I can kind of go and do something with. I Once I finish these books, once I finish editing this, I've got nothing else. Like I've got the proofreads of like 2 books and then nothing. I've got a
Mm-hmm.
vague plan for book 4, and I've got a plan for super secret project that we'll talk about soon.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I Yeah, and that feels scary.
Yeah.
And that's what's been good about the running schedule, like knowing what's coming next, not having to think
Mm-hmm.
about it. So I want to maintain the role and make sure that is in place, but find a way to make my days more professional now. And
Yeah.
say, okay, if I know I have to get 10,000 words edited this week, I'm going to sit down on Monday for 3 hours between this time and this time, sit down as if I'm at work at my day job at a desk and not move until it's done, rather than like, oh, maybe I'll go for a walk. No, maybe I'll make some food. Oh, actually, I'm just going to sit down for a little bit. And I lose so much time to like decisions. It's
Mm-hmm.
an absolute waste of my time.
I have a very set structures to my day. And maybe this is because I live with somebody else and I've got a dog. So my time is very set. I like to think of myself as like a free spirit, like just a floating like
Mm-hmm.
puff of coloured hair just wandering around. But actually I'm I'm very set to a schedule. Yeah, I said it like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it helps me a lot because I have to cook dinner for somebody else. I don't have to cook dinner. I like to cook dinner, so I cook dinner every night. Basically, that made me sound like I was like a slave in the kitchen. I'm not.
Cinderella. Yeah.
The kitchen is my favorite place. It has all the food and the drinks. And so when I get home from work, I will sit down for a few minutes and like decompress, because I leave the house to work as well. So I have very like set, this is my work time, this is my home time. So I get home and I have to like, I'll cook dinner and I'll feed the dog. And then after I've eaten dinner, and this is going to sound bad, and watch a TV show. I know I'm not watching TV.
Doesn't sound bad. It sounds like you specifically said you're going to watch TV,
Yeah.
but I've taken that with a pinch of salt because you mentioned a lot of TV recently, and also that is fine. Like, you need to have
Yeah.
input, and that is definitely a thing I noticed this week
love
myself.
TV.
I don't have any input. Like, I've stopped listening to podcasts even because I don't want to get other things in my head that will distract me.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that long term I will not be able to continue. I'll have no more ideas.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need
You
input.
have to. Yeah. I do need it. I want to stop watching TV when I'm supposed to be working, but watching TV like in the times where I would always be doing like cooking or sitting down to eat. Like me and my boyfriend watch a lot of TV together. We love watching TV and movies and stuff. So that's like our time together. But once we finish that, that's when my work starts. Like that's when I'm like, right, I'll get my laptop, do some work, and then I'll work up until like maybe 10 o'clock ish. So between like 8 and 10, that's the time that I get my work in. So everything else is done. And then I get to sit down and do my thing. And then once I finish, I read and then go to bed. So I feel like
That
I have
sounds idyllic.
It's like, it is very nice to do all of this, like to do everything in this order. And I do think that I benefit from leaving and going to work somewhere else and coming home. Because I think if I was at home, I don't think I would find it so easy to then get up and start doing stuff, because I have to, like, I am up already. I'm like already active. When
So
I
if I've had a tiring day at work, like, I'll just stay sat in that chair and be like, well, I'll just put some Netflix on, or like sit on my phone for a bit.
When I was working from home over lockdown, I did no work. I didn't write anything. I didn't do anything. I really felt like I didn't do anything because I was just sat on the sofa. So the sofa was where I sat. That was like I lived on the sofa. And as much as I loved it, it was the worst time for me. If I'm stationary, I will be stationary forever. I said I need to keep. This was actually in my horoscope today. I shall read it. This is going to be like a weekly thing. But I was about to say these words
that you secretly write for yourself because it's so accurate you can't possibly read by someone else.
It said sharks have to keep moving for survival, but you don't. And I was actually about to say, if I stop, I never start again. If I sit down, and I'm like Monica when she sits in the beanbag, like, hey, you ain't getting me up. I'm down.
Yeah, well, I was going to make a reference to like the laws of motion of the universe, but you know what? A friend's reference is actually much more relatable.
Friends reference, everyone gets it. So like my schedule is very set, and I really like it. But oh my god, I'd love it so much more if I didn't spend 7 hours working for someone else. You know, like imagine.
But then I think having that, like, you know, as soon as you got that time back, you know, people say they don't get more productive. But I think that's my problem. I think I would not want to leave my day job until I was better at being productive on my off days, until I was able to make a schedule. And I don't know how much I'm just a real, like, in that way, my own worst enemy. Because I'm like, I think I don't have an angel on my shoulder. There's like just me and the devil on my shoulder, and the angel's just like out to lunch forever. So I'm just like constantly fighting the urge to be like, oh, just pick your phone up. We're like, just do nothing.
It's so funny that you think that about yourself, because I see you as the opposite. I really think that you are the person who's like getting it done. I really see you as a
good game.
Yeah, you do. but you are moving forwards, and you are like, I really do feel like you have got it made. Like a lot better. I feel like even though my day sounds like very solid, I really feel like I'm floundering. Maybe we're just really bad at seeing ourselves for what we are.
I think because I don't have a partner and I don't even have a dog to go and walk, I don't have to commute to work. Like, I think I'm putting more hours in and proportionally getting less done. So I feel 20 times more busy than most people, but I'm probably getting 4 to 5 times more done because I'm spending so much time procrastinating and not letting myself rest. I'm not a good judge of like I think rest is procrastination, and I cannot judge what the difference between two is. So, and that's fine. Like I'd have to be perfect. I've been kind of thinking about a lot. I think we've talked about it maybe over last year. I'm aware of it, and I'm working on it. But I definitely want to work on it to the stage where before I was quitting my job, I was able to have a job-like schedule in my writing. I was not spending 12 hours at a writing desk to complete 3 hours of work.
Yeah, I've recently, like, I think I've said this before. We've definitely talked about this before, and whether I mentioned it on the podcast, I can't remember. But over the weekend, obviously when my schedule is completely different, I was always waiting till like 2:00 before I started work, and I thought that was like, oh, that's fine. But a few weeks ago, it started to feel like it wasn't fine. Like I felt like I was wasting a lot of my morning just doing nothing, like just waiting until 2:00 because that's the time that I told myself I was going to start working. It was like really stupid. And over the last few weeks, or 2 weeks maybe it's only been 2 weeks, I've decided to start working at like 10:00 instead. So after I've done my morning walk with Juno, and we've like potted around and argued whilst we were walking down the street, because even though she's a dog, she does argue with me with her eyes. So then we get back and I'm like all riled up because I've just like been fighting with my dog.
Just fight with the dog.
Yeah, fight with the dog. Had breakfast, and then like basically started working almost immediately after, like having a little bit of a morning time, and it's felt so much better. Shockingly, doing the work earlier in the morning is better than starting late, because I was the same as you. I felt like I was working for a longer time but getting less done. So I was starting work at 2 and maybe working through to like 6 or something, and I wasn't getting any further. Like it wasn't like I was getting absolutely loads of work done. And once I started doing it in the morning, working from maybe like 10 or 11 till lunchtime, so maybe like till 2 or 3 o'clock, I feel like I've gotten so much more done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like a shift in, like, maybe I just like, I am better earlier. Maybe my energy levels are just better then. And I've convinced myself that I'm
What
an
happens if
afternoon.
you, yeah, what happens if you try and write on? So like, say you start at 10 and you write till 6. Does that just become less and less productive?
No, I think I'm just as productive, but I'm just like tired and feel like I shouldn't have to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
like I get annoyed that I would start earlier and carry on working. But also it just also means that at the weekend I can plan to do things in the
Yeah.
late afternoon, early evening, like go out and get a coffee, or go to the shops, or like go to the ice hockey. And that's felt like a better life to lead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Which is the schedule you should have if you want to like do it long term.
yeah,
I definitely feel like I'm working on a very short term strategy right now in that like
but that's
I will start at
understandable.
10 and I will
Mm,
not start to finish like 2 a.m. But like
yeah.
between then I've done, procrastination to no end. And
Mm-hmm.
I have achieved what like I'll be editing / writing like 6,000 words in that time. That's probably the maximum I can do in a day. But I probably could have done it in much less time if I'd had to, especially like if I'd had got something planned for the evening, I'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna sit down, get this done, and be on it.
Mm-hmm.
But then maybe that's not true. Maybe because I find a lot of I'm a very like sprint writer, so I will do a
Mm-hmm.
bit of writing, and then my brain is like, I'm done. You've squeezed all the juice out. You have to let it refill and then come back. But I think in that time I'm procrastinating, but actually I'm just refilling.
Mm-hmm.
And I just need to get
How long do
better
you
at
leave
recognizing it.
between your sprints?
I'm not doing like sprint like time sprints at the moment. It's just
Ah, okay.
like yeah, and so I intend it to be like quick and come back,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes like oh I sat down somewhere else, and then I'll come back a bit later. It's only been better, that's partly why I kind of make my work time very compressed in terms of weeks because if I know I've only got 2 weeks, like there's a limit to how much time I can procrastinate because the time will physically. I do understand how time works; it will physically run out. So there's only so much procrastination I can fit into that. Um, what was I going to say? No, it's gone. Yeah, I'm tired. Um, oh yes, no, I was going to say we talked about this before, but I am using and absolutely still getting an absolute benefit from For the Words, which is the number
Uh-huh.
4 and then the words. I will put it in the show notes. It's you fight monsters, so you get a
Mm-hmm.
certain time to fight a certain monster, and you get benefits, and you're kind of on a quest. And you have to collect all the things that the monsters drop to go and complete the quests.
Mm-hmm.
So often, if I want to take like a break, I will stop in the middle of a battle with a monster, knowing that I've got maybe like 20 minutes on the clock and I've still got to do a couple of hundred words. Then I'm like, oh, I've got to come back and finish that fight and defeat the monster. So that's definitely helping. And it's got a lot of, gamification, but like it's you're the one responsible for it, which I like. I
Yeah.
don't really like gamification with other people involved. I've never just like league tables and things. I only want to beat myself. So in this, it tells you how many words you've done a day, how many words in a project, how many months you've defeated, how far you're on your quest, things like that, where you can kind of have that self gratification, I guess. But yes, I'll
Mm-hmm.
put it in the show notes. I recently went pro, and this is not an ad. It's not very expensive to go pro, but I found that I used it enough and found and like wanted to have a little reminder to use it more by paying for it. So I think it's maybe something like 70 something quid a year.
Mm-hmm.
So not a huge amount, under
Yeah.
$100.
Yeah, that sounds good. I've been
Mhm.
using Word Tracker. I don't obviously can't use Word Tracker for editing, but now that I'm in the writing phase, I'm back to using Word Tracker, which I
Mhm.
love because it shows you can put in how many words you need to write and what date you need to finish by,
Mm.
and it will tell you how many words you need to write by the end of the day in order to meet the target. And it gives you a little pie chart where it tells you what percentage you're on. I love writing over the percentage. So today, for example, if it's going to load, I think I got like 174% of my target,
Whoa.
which and that's the kind of gratification that I need. I love to see like
Mhm.
that I've beat it. Oh, I tell a lie. Today was actually, I was 229% of my target.
That's insane. Whoa.
So
Okay.
like,
Well done.
and I'll just show it on the screen, which if this video comes out at any point
Mhm.
in time, so you get like a nice little dashboard which gives you like the little chart, and you can look at your stats to see like where you're up
What's
to
that
and
called?
how.
Sorry, I'll put a link into it as well.
It's just called Word Tracker. Nice
Okay.
and
Well,
simple.
good luck to me finding that.
I know. If it helps, the icon, like the little picture, is a green typewriter on a blue background.
Okay, that does help. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I really find this very helpful. And I got this because when I was like doing NaNoWriMo and stuff, and when I used to use their website, they had that tracker on, and that was basically the sole purpose I loved using the website. Was it told me how much I needed to write that day, and told me what percentage I was up to, and it gave me a little chart. And I really like seeing a chart. It helps me, like it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I also love my beat sheet, my physical beat sheet that I have on a wall. It's a piece of A3 paper with all of my beats written on it in Sharpies and like split into acts. And as I'm going, I tick them off. And that is, it's just like the little things that spur you on, I think. And also, it's just such a good way to see where I'm up to. Because obviously, when you're looking at a Word document, you can see what page you're on, but like I can't visualize past that page. I can't really imagine how the rest of how much more story is involved. But seeing my beats written out is so much easier for me. And when I get to tick off where I'm up to, and I can see myself progressing on this sheet, that is like I couldn't do it without it. I really don't think I could. I wouldn't be able to carry on, because if I can't imagine the end point, I would just flail around. So
I use a beat sheet with percentages like a spreadsheet, and that really helps, because then you think, if you get to that point where you think, I'm not quite sure I'm at the right place in this book, it feels like I'm at the midpoint, but it doesn't feel like lengthwise this is right, and then you can go back and figure out where some parts are too short. And I know some people really don't get along with beat sheets, but I find for me it just you're going to reinvent the wheel if you don't, because you're so used to reading books of a certain structure. Western literature is only one structure. If you decide to write the part before the call to adventure as half the book, no one's going to get there, because it's boring. That's a terrible book. That's not a narrative that we enjoy. Even the most literary literature, if you look at it, you can find the beats in it, because that's the way that our narratives form. You look at other forms of literature. So if you look at, for example, like Chinese literature, it doesn't follow that at all, and people can find it very difficult to read. I find Chinese literature, I've really tried to read a lot when I lived in Hong Kong. I find it really hard because you're expecting something that doesn't come. And you don't want that to happen in your book. So yes, I use that as I'm writing and editing. I've also currently got my on my fridge whiteboard, I've got the chapters that I need to do today. I can cross them off, get a little gold star. But I was going to mention one other tool, in fact, while we're talking about this. So I have just got an app called Toggle Track, and obviously because it's cool, it's got no E on toggle, so vowels are the enemy. So Toggle Track, and I'm using that for this other project that I want to work on, and I'm just trialing it. And it's like a freelancing app, so it's a freelancing time tracking app, and you can either use it like press start and it tracks time, or you can just put in blocks of time. Because this is a different sort of writing project where I'm not quite sure how long things are going to take me, so I want to be able to track and get a better sense of, did the writing say take me longer than this book that I normally write? And I think if I like it and it works, I'm going to expand that to my own books. And I think Sacha Black does this, right? I think like she times herself and looks at her word counts and like tries to always beat herself and get better. And I think I've got enough moving parts working at the moment in my rolling schedule to want to improve my own experience of it. So to make myself more efficient, to track the time I take, and to maybe say, you know what, actually editing, it doesn't take you 2 weeks. You think it takes 2 weeks, but if you were going to not die over it, you take 3, and you wouldn't be wasting time. Or you could take 2 and you just have to procrastinate less. So I think that's my next stage.
I really want to know what maybe we'll talk about this another time, but I really want to know what your idea of procrastination is. Like I want to know more details.
But a lot of it is just like time on my phone, right? It's just like it's just picking your phone up and doing nothing. Or I mean, definitely for me, like I would say procrastination is like not even watching TV, but like watching stuff on YouTube, or doing some housework, which is I'm stealing the housekeeper's job. When she starts, she'll be this. Yeah, and I will do more housework when I've got more to do. Not to a huge amount. Obviously, that's coming up my baseline of next to 0. But there'll be more cleaning going on sometimes, and then sometimes absolutely 0. But yeah, it's a lot of just like being on my phone, or doing too much checking of things, like checking of like, oh, how's my KDP dashboard looking today? And like, how are my ads doing? And have I had any book file downloads? And like, how's my newsletter? I'm just going for a circle of that.
Hmm.
When it's like, I don't need to know it every hour. I could just not look at it.
Yeah.
But when I'm in the procrastination mode, I'm like, oh, let me just check. I'll just check these things and I'll feel like I've ticked that off and I'll get back to work,
Hmm.
which is unnecessary.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel you on that. Yeah,
Mhm.
that is procrastination.
Mhm.
I ask you a question? Are you planning on always doing rapid release going forwards, or is this just like a test to see what is your what in your future
Yeah.
production schedule? What does the next year look like for you? Do you have that kind of idea? Do you have like a 12-month production schedule?
I've got this year planned out, but past like June, I think it's in pencil. Part of it is because I want to be able to be responsive. I think this is a tip from Lynn, friend of the podcast, who said like
Hmm.
just you can wait until you've got 3 or 4 and then use the numbers from that to decide whether you want to carry on the series or rip it up sooner or longer, rather than kind of commit yourself in your mind to a longer series. Um, and I like that flexibility in my calendar, just to kind of say, here's what I would be doing if I were going to continue to book 6 by the start of next year. If not, then I've got this time free.
Hmm.
I think I'm hoping this series, I will continue to 6 a minimum, because I think that's a good number to, if the read through is strong enough to kind of pay back on ads. And that I want to try and get out within about a year, as in from the start of the series to the end of the series.
Okay.
Um, it's interesting. Like I think it's Heather G. Harris who is kind of more Stuart genre, so she's more urban fantasy.
Hmm.
She does rapid release, but she'll like take a big break between books and then rapid release just to kind of build more momentum. And I think
Hmm.
that works when you're able to like make more of a launch event out of something.
Yeah,
So
she's
if
really
you're
good at it.
doing yeah, and she really has like a fandom around it.
Hmm.
And we talk about Ellie Alexander a lot, and she had, and this is a Storm Publishing thing. They I think have kind of helped her with the schedule for the book she does with them. She had books 1 and 2 out on the same day, and then book 3 out maybe a fortnight later or something. And she's going to have, it's a 6 book like complete series. That's all coming out within maybe 6 months, maybe a year, but like it, the first few have come out very, very rapidly. And she also has 2 continuing series with other publishers, and she's got another book coming out soon. So it's interesting. But yes, I think if I were going to start a new series, yes. I think to continue an existing series, no, I don't see a benefit to it in terms of like my own personal sanity and ability to write that much and keep up the quality of
Okay.
the books.
Yeah.
Um, if I were writing full time, I think I would want to see if I could get more books out a year.
Hmm.
Like this year, I think because I'd stocked some books up last year and I kind of made some progress already. I think this year I'm hoping to publish 6 books, which is a lot. Obviously, I published effectively no books last year, so it's kind of 3 a year. Um, but yeah, I would say like 6 books a year is probably a good number for me, because they're short. Again,
Hmm.
like this is not saying that you should be doing this. This is because
Yeah.
they're short.
Oh God, I could never.
And yeah, so I
God.
would say if you're writing a fantasy, like 3 of my books is 1 book.
Yeah.
So I don't know how people write like 4 fantasy books a year. That just seems like so
Hmm.
much just word count.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I also think having faster releases of short books helps you keep that role.
Hmm.
Whereas if you're doing, slightly further part releases or slightly longer books, you might write 1 book and then think, oh, I've got like a 70,000 word book that is basically finished. If I have to leave it to write another 70,000 word book, that's a couple of months that I'm not releasing that
Mm.
book, and I'm just sitting on it before I come back to even edit it. And then, so I think because they're short, then they have a short turnaround time relatively.
Yeah.
Um, I benefit from it not feeling like I've got books just sat there not earning money when they could be earning money.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Because for me, it's completely different. Because I've said this before. Like I've got a backlist, and
How many
I
books are in your backlist that you want to publish?
let me have a look at my post-its.
Hmm.
Let's see. So I've got that one coming out. That one's next. So not including these 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. And then there's a series that I kind of want to relaunch, which is like a 14-book series. Potentially, like that's the potential for that series. It's like an epic series. So yeah, like I've effectively could, like, for the next 5 or 6 years just work on the books that I've got in my production list now.
Oh my goodness, that is.
Which I know that's crazy, and I have, like, I think this is because obviously for years and years I was writing without doing anything with them, and I've like just released, like, periodically, I just randomly put books out, and so I've built up just like a lot of stories, but also just have, like, they're not all written, like a lot of those aren't written, but I just know the books that I'm going to write. I have my imagination is like next level, almost psychotic. I can't explain, like, how many worlds exist in my head. Like, I actually think that if someone studied me, they'd think that there's something wrong with my brain, because it's just weird up here.
That's not
so
most
like
opposite thing, because I've got just nothing in my head. Like, just empty.
I have the most in my head. Like, it does actually scare me sometimes. But I've obviously put that to good use in that I write down every idea that I have, and whilst I don't always develop every idea that I have, I've got like a really long list. Like, that's just the books that I like want to release. They're not all the ideas I've had and all the stories I've started. So like I am just like a very productive person when it comes to ideas, because I'm like got this ADHD brain that never stops. So like, yeah, I feel like I'm good to go. But it's just for the longest time I just thought that I had time figured out, and then realized I didn't. So I came up with a new production schedule, which I think is achievable for me, and it feels like there's enough built into it that it's not going to kill me, and it seems like it's going to, like, it's going to be nice, and means I get 2 books released a year. At the moment, that seems like the best thing that I could hope for with having a full-time job. So yeah, I feel like I'm just like I'm set, but I'm not there. Like I'm really on a cusp, and it's really it feels very strange. I don't know.
If you suddenly became independently wealthy, and you stop work tomorrow, how many books do you think you'd be able to release a year?
I would start with 3. At the moment, I don't know, because I haven't like done this process enough times to know if it's like repeatable, or like or I don't know how I would build on it. I think 3 to start, but I would like to do 4 a year. I think 4 a year is my ultimate goal, because 4 quarters of a year just feels nice. That feels like it'd be a nice rounded out process.
Would you save any to rapid release?
I would love to do a rapid release series, but I don't know. I don't write short books. Right, I write ridiculously long books, and I have to cut them. I really struggle. When I write, this is like part of the process that I have to work on, because I definitely overwrite and edit down. I would very much like to have a tighter writing schedule and be a lot better at sticking to my word count, because I always aim for like 80,000 words, and I always overshoot and get like 120. So
no,
yeah, it's a really, I just love writing. I just love the writing process so much, and I get really into it. But I am an Act 2 like dawdler. I love dawdling in Act 2. It's my favorite thing. I always overwrite Act 2. But that is something that I need to work on. But at the moment, I have my schedule is like write a book in November, December, edit January, and this isn't even like the same book. I've never once done write a book and publish it in one go. I've never done that. So I've always worked on another book. So I've like, if I write a book,
that's not the topic of today. Rolling production schedules.
Exactly. So this is like,
we're
this is how it's all kind of working. So say like in January to, I don't even know what I put on my list, like January to, wait, where am I? To June? And can't even read my writing. But basically, for the first 3 months of the year, I'd edit. and then get it all set up to release and start editing the next book in May to release later in the year, and then write a book at the end of the year. And that's kind of my like process, is working on 3 books a year to release 2, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I really
But
did
then
not
I feel like
describe
problems
that
going to
very
get
well.
worse and worse because you have more and more books
Yeah,
that you've not released.
but I know, but like the books that I'm going to be writing at the end of the year are the ones that are on my list, so they're not like new books
Okay.
per se. But it just means that I've forever got a book that's next to kind of come into the process. So I am at the moment in the process. Like I've got the process set up. I just have to do it, like have one go at doing it for a full round to see if it's working. This is what this year's all about, basically, is just doing this process that I've come up with and seeing if it's achievable, if it's comfortable, and if it can be built on. That's where I'm at. But I feel like
Yeah.
I'm like,
This is very
doing
apt too.
well.
I think we are in it. Yeah. I think we are doing well.
I'm just so tired.
Yes. Yeah, but I think we'll revisit this because I think this is a good topic. It's not like we're talking necessarily about rolling production schedule, we're talking about the time management for it. Like
Yeah.
what, and really it's not like the solution's like, what are our problems with time management for this? Yeah, I think we've both got loads of problems. So good to have things to work on. We love learning. This is what we're going to learn this year.
Love it.
Yes. Yeah, do hop into Discord if you've got suggestions of how we could easily fix that. But it cannot be don't procrastinate or just write faster because we are aware of these problems.
Don't tell me
They're
don't
like
write too much.
fundamental.
Yeah, don't tell me to cut my writing short. Like, I know.
Yeah. Have you got anything else, last thing to say on this topic?
No, other than the fact that I think we're both doing a great job and we deserve like champagne or something.
Yeah. I think good job, us. We're
Yeah.
both working at our current capacity,
Mm-hmm.
and that can only improve. We will keep getting
Yes.
better, but we are definitely
Yeah.
both like working as hard as we can right now, which is all we can ask for.
Yeah.
Next week we are talking about quite a different topic. We're talking about income diversification, which is another part of kind of professionalizing. I feel like we've talked about this before, or at least touched upon it.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be just useful to check in and think, where are we actually at in terms of making that happen? I feel like I have made some progress before. I kind of made a very pie in the sky, like imaginary list, and now I've got some more concrete plans. Do you have any initial thoughts on it?
No, I'm the same. Like, I would know that I had a little list of things that I could be doing to diversify my income. I kind of felt like I was a bit scared to look at it again once we came up with the original list, because it felt like more of a job. It felt way more like giving than receiving. To quote Friends again, having and sharing.
The having, the sharing, yeah.
Kind of. So it felt more like I was going to be giving up more of my time and not getting anything in return. But I don't. I feel like I'm ready to kind of look at it again now, and flip that mindset, hopefully.
Yeah. Or even just like reevaluate. Like we don't have to do anything. It's just like a touching in and touching base and thinking like what looks realistic from this now, having thought more about my own schedule, and more about where I want to get money from. I definitely feel more like a concrete sense of like needing to diversify income. I think previously when thinking about book income, it seems so far away from something that I would live on that it was like, oh, this is my future self when I make millions from writing. But I don't want to be thinking that far in the future. I want to be able to not have a full-time job before then, and to kind of have different strands to it and think, what do I need in order to make that workable? So yeah, I would like to kind of get closer to thinking about the practicalities of that. So next week's conversation will be a good chance to talk about that. We need a question for our Discord. So today we talked about time management. In fact, that's a good question. Time management tips from everyone. What are your best time management tips and tools? That would be the question in the Discord. And hopefully people have just got some sort of like magical fairy they can lend me.
Yeah. If you've got a genie, a lamp with a genie in it that can, or Bernard's watch would be also appreciated at this time.
Yeah. Yes. Any sort of magic really is appreciated for time management. I don't want, practical things like just look at your phone less, because That's not
No,
me. That's not where I'm at psychologically.
I'm gonna say this right now. I got into my car the other day and I actually said out loud to myself, I need magic to be real. Like it was a way to soothe myself. Like I think magic needs to be real right now. And then I just carried on driving.
It's when you were late
That's
for
where
work
I'm
and you
at.
needed to make a 6-minute journey in 3 minutes.
I was already at work as I was in my parking space. I might have been leaving work. I think I was leaving. I was just had one of those days where it's like, I just need more. I need something better than
It
this.
looks so good in TV. Like, I mean, we grew up watching like Sabrina Teenage Witch, and that just felt like that would happen to you any moment. And I still don't have magic powers, and it's just constantly frustrating.
I'm still waiting.
Just
I'm waiting.
exponentially better life with it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, maybe next week. Again, if anyone's got anything from Discord, let us know your magic powers and how we access those would be greatly appreciated. But also to come in for like, we're chatting about like focus of the week. Any questions you've got is a great group. So it is in the show notes. Do also like and subscribe to our podcast. Tell your friends. I think we've got some great growth recently from like people sharing it with their friends. So if you see other writers on social media thinking, I'm stuck and I feel so alone, recommend this podcast. We're trying to build a community of like writers who don't feel so stuck and alone. So please do let them know there's other people out here just chatting nonsense about that they might listen to and feeling very tired. So we're both going to go now. I'm going to do some more work. I'm guessing you are similarly off to do something productive.
No, I'm going to read.
Oh, that is productive. That's input.
Yeah.
That is important.
Yes.
But yes, I have got some more editing to do. So we will leave it here and tell everyone thank you for joining us and goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.